Hi everyone! In this tutorial I'm going to show you how I do my Christmas plaid tumbler. I like to start my plaids with 5 small pieces of 1-inch painter's tape. I attach them around the bottom of my cup to form a star. Once I have those on there, then I will fold them down and stick them to the cup. And this gives me a better view of any adjustments that I need to make to my spacing. Once I have it where I think it looks even, I will take my cloth measuring tape and measure that space between each piece of tape, just to make sure that they're about the same. They're not going to be perfect, but they were all about the same. Then I will use those small pieces of tape as guidelines for my longer vertical pieces. Now I'm going to lay my horizontal pieces. And I do this plaid differently than a normal plaid. I leave an open area in the center of the cup specifically for a decal. I always have trouble finding a decal that looks good on a plaid because there's already so much going on with them already. So this way I have a designated area for it. So I start just like any other plaid, a piece of tape, and then I lay a spacer piece right below it. And then another piece below that. And then I'm going to pull off that spacer. Once that's done, I'm going to tape off the next 3 rows, and that is going to be my center for the decal. This is a 30-ounce skinny that I'm using. You can do it on a 20-ounce, but obviously you don't have as much room to work with, so it might look a little squished together. It can be done though. I have done it on a 20-ounce. I like the way it looks much better on a 30-ounce. Once I have my 3 sections taped off, then I'm going to start with the plaid. So a piece of tape and then a spacer. Another below that, and I just kept going. I didn't pull the spacer just yet because these cups can be a little bit confusing. So once I got to my bottom piece, then I pulled my spacer. Now I'm going to pull off my center 3 rows so that I can cut off the excess tape. I hope this is not confusing. I'm trying to explain it as best as I can. So at the top of the cup, you're going to have 3 rows for your plaid. Then you're going to have 3 rows in the middle for your open area, and then you're going to have 4 rows at the bottom for the plaid. So that's what your cup should look like up to this point. Now I'm going to retape the center area. I know it might not make sense right now, but you will see it come together, and it'll all make sense here in just a little bit. To apply my glitter for this design, I'm using the Mod Podge method, and I'm adding acrylic paint in a color that matches the glitter that I'm using. The thing about using Mod Podge is that it dries quickly and it dries unevenly depending on how thick or thin your Mod Podge is in any area. So 99% of the time you will have to go back and do a second layer of Mod Podge and a second layer of glitter. The black glitter that I'm using is called MIDNITE. So as you can see here in just a second, there are some areas where the glitter didn't stick, and that's because the Mod Podge in those areas was so thin that it dried super fast, and by the time I got around to glittering, it was already dry. So there was nothing for it to stick to. So you will have to do a second coat. So the second coat is done, and now I am going to pull my horizontal pieces, but I'm going to leave the center section taped up for now. I'm carefully pulling the tape off so I don't pull off any of the glitter. So now it's time for our mixed color. So you're going to have 2 colors that you choose, and then your third color is going to be a mixture of those 2 colors. And it's not always going to be a 50-50 blend. It depends on what colors you're using. I'm using black and white, so I used more white glitter than I did black glitter. You just want to try and have a blend that's halfway between the 2 colors. I also suggest mixing up twice what you think you might use, because you will be using more of this mixed color than you do the other colors. If you don't mix enough and you have to stop in the middle and mix up some more, you might not have the same ratio as you did the first time, and your color could be a little off, and then you will have to go back and re-glitter some of those areas to make it all look even. So as you can see right now, even though I'm glittering, it doesn't really look like there's any glitter on there. I did have to go and add second layers of Mod Podge and glitter for all 3 of my colors. It's just something that is more than likely when you use Mod Podge. Just expect that you're going to have to do that. So you want to make sure that your Mod Podge, your first layer of Mod Podge, is completely dry before you go brushing on a second layer. If it's not dry, when you run your brush over it, it will pull up your glitter. It will clump it up. It will make the cup not look pretty, and it's something that might be visible even after you put epoxy on it. So just make sure everything is completely dry before doing that second layer. So I'm just showing how to do the second layer. You're just going over the same areas, putting some more Mod Podge, adding some more glitter, and you can definitely tell a difference with that second coat of glitter. That black splotch, I honestly do not remember what I did to fix it, if I did anything at all. All I know is that I cannot find it on the cup now. And all it is my Mod Podge mixed with the black paint was heavier in that area. So it was a little bit thicker and it was showing through the glitter. But I cannot find it now, so I don't know what I did. So once I got the second layer done, now I'm pulling up my remaining tape, except for that center area. And this is why I say that you need to mix up a little bit extra of your mixed color. So the way I remembered when I first started doing plaids is that your mixed color goes north, south, east, and west of your first color. So as you can see, I have my mixed color above and below the black, and now I'm going to do it on either side of the black. So north, south, east, and west. This part here is a little bit more tedious because you are having to hand paint the top and bottom of your square. But don't worry if it's not perfect. It's okay, just take your time and do the best you can. We're going to be covering our imperfect crooked lines here in one of the next steps. So do the best you can. So now you can see I have mixed color above, below, and on either side of the black. So now it's time for our third and final color. You always want to make sure that you start with your darkest color and end with your lightest color. Again, I'm using Mod Podge and it's mixed with white acrylic paint. And the glitter that I'm using is called Rainbow White. I do have a previous glitter plaid tumbler that I did. It's a year old. I was only on YouTube for a couple of months when I did it. So it might be a hot mess, but I know that I do go into a little bit more detail on how to apply the tape and how to glitter the squares. And so if you need to go back and use that as a reference, it's in my earlier tutorials. You're always free to message me as well if you need any help. So now I'm just finishing up my second coat. So since I'm using the same white glitter in the center that I just finished painting my squares with, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm not going to wait for the other to dry. Like I said, it's the same white glitter, so I'm not worried about any contamination. I am using a foam brush. You can use whatever kind of brush that you prefer. This one was a little bit wide to fit in the medicine cup, so I just trimmed off the sides. I'm butting the brush up against the glitter and pulling it towards the center of the area. I'm just trying to not get very much Mod Podge onto my already glittered areas. Once this is dry, then I go back and I do my second layer of glitter in the center. Then once it's dry, I spray it with Krylon Triple Thick a couple of times, and then I'm going to put a coat of CC DIY Quick Coat. So I use the Triple Thick clear spray as a way to hold the glitter in place while I brush over it with the Quick Coat to keep it from moving. The Quick Coat I use as a filler, I guess you could say. The Quick Coat soaks down into the glitter, and it fills in all those cracks and crevices, so that when I go put my first layer of epoxy on, I'm not having to use as much. And I understand that not everybody uses the Quick Coat, and that's fine. Just make sure that you spray your glitter. I would recommend at least 3 or 4 times to hold your glitter in place. Once that one coat of Quick Coat was dry, then it was time to move on to the bottom of the cup. The red glitter that I'll be applying on the bottom is called MAMACITA. Once the Mod Podge is dry, I will do just like I did with the rest of the cup. I will spray it with Triple Thick. I will put a coat of Quick Coat over it and then let that dry. Then I will come back and do a second coat of the Quick Coat over the entire cup. Then I applied 25 ml of epoxy. I sanded, and now I am going to apply the red nail tape. So I'm going to take that nail tape all the way from the bottom to the top and through that center area. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to trim off the excess in the middle. And I know that might seem like a waste of product, but I did it so that I knew when I cut that middle section out that the top part and the bottom part would all line up. If I tried to do it separately, I know that I wouldn't have been able to get everything in a straight line. So I wasted a little bit of product, but I know that my lines matched up. I'm also laying 2 strips of nail tape side by side with a slight gap in between. And you don't have to do this, it's just a preference. I like the way it looks, and I think that the 2 pieces cover up any crooked lines better than just one piece of nail tape does. And it doesn't really cover it, it just kind of distracts the eye so that you're looking at the tape and not the imperfect lines underneath the tape. So as you can see, my lines are not perfect, but that nail tape covers all of that. So now I'm taking some red washi tape. It's wider than the nail tape, and I'm going to use it to border off or section off that middle area. And I am not the queen of getting these tapes on straight, so it always takes me a minute to get it right. And then once I have the tape on there, then I'm going to trim off the tape in the middle. And now we have a nice open area for an image or a phrase or whatever you're going to be using. Now I'm going to lay my horizontal pieces of nail tape. I love using the nail tape. I've used it in several of my other tutorials. I just think that it helps everything to look crisp and clean, and it just adds a little extra to the cup. Also, I don't show on camera, but I did go back and add a piece of black nail tape to the center of the red washi tape. And you will be able to see that in the close-up shots after the tutorial. I just think that adding that one small detail just helped to pull everything together. I absolutely love this color combination and the little touch of red accent to it. I just love the way these colors look together. Once I have it all taped up, then I will go and spray it with the triple thick clear spray to seal the nail tape. I used to do it with the quick coat by brushing it on, but the ends of that nail tape pull up so easily that I just started spraying it with clear spray. Then I did 15 mLs of epoxy over that, and now I'm going to lay down my water slide. I got this image on Etsy. It actually came as one piece, and I cut it in half to make it two separate. So you want to just make sure you get your cup wet. I printed the image backwards, and then I laid it image side down on the cup. And now I'm using a silicone makeup brush to squeegee out any excess water, push out any air bubbles, or smooth out any wrinkles. I like to let my water slides sit for 24 hours to dry out, and then I did 20 mLs of epoxy over that, and then the cup was done. So I hope that you like this design. I hope that you try it, have fun with it, and happy holidays, everyone.